Hey everyone, Retire on Dividends here. It's about that time. I know people, they've been asking me, all right, when is the estimate going to be posted for YMAX? So the answer is always going to be the weekend before the declaration date. So always keep that in mind, okay? So the declaration date is April 16th, as you can see on this spreadsheet. And the ex-dividend date is April 17th. And the payment date is April 19th. So it looks like it's all happening in 1 week, which is really, really good. And obviously, for the covered call ETFs, right? So where is it? Their ex-dividend date and declaration date was April 3rd, okay? So when it comes to calculating an estimate on YMAX and YMAG, keep in mind they own again, when I say all other, these are the covered call ETFs. They own, equally weighted all other covered call ETFs. So since they own the actual ETF, what matters is what they own on declaration date. Okay, so what they owned on April 3rd, I had to capture that. So on April 4th, they'll post what exactly they owned for the close as of April 3rd. So on April 4th, the morning of, I got the holdings and I plugged that data in and I left it there. And then I left it there until the weekend of, before April 16th, which is YMAX declaration date. So here I am. So, now let's go take a look at the numbers. But before, let's look at March, right? So March, I had used that same formula and I figured it out. And I used the exact amount of shares and the exact holdings. And I came out with 64 cents for YMAX and 68 cents for YMAG. However, they actually paid less. YMAX paid 56 cents and YMAG paid 59 cents. So I decided to do a calculation for what I'm going to call a little cushion, right? Which they may or may not consider a cushion, but I'll just call it a cushion. So this is the cushion for how many shares I believe was, added into the fund. So, for YMAX, it was 11% more shares in order to come to that number. And for YMAG, it was 15% more shares to come to that number. Because again, I'm making it the weekend of. So obviously there's days following, today, for example, where people can buy into the funds. But how many people? We don't know. All right, so now, again, so I covered the what they own. So this is what they own, right? I should probably do the allocation so you guys can see if they are equally weighted. You know what I mean? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But either way, this is what they own. Essentially, YMAX owns everything, okay? Everything except Misty. They'll own Misty on... they'll own Misty next month. So I'm expecting, well, they may actually, they may own it now, or they may wait until this whole payment thing is over with, but we'll see. Either way, they're going to own it for the next payment. So don't worry about that. So either way, so you see what they own. So for YMAX, I added, these are how many shares they held, and it's the dividend payment that each fund has made. So this is what I calculated they got as far as the payment goes for the fund. So as you can see, the biggest payment, look at that. NVIDIA, 404,000, Coney, 490,000, Phoebe, 229,000, and then AMD, 241,000, and then AIYY, 216,000. So they're doing really good. All those funds, they are lifting us up as far as YMAX is concerned. So now let's look into the numbers. Let's get YMAG out of the picture for now. So total payment, we're looking at a payment of $3.3 million, right? $3,345,518. Outstanding shares as of this past Friday close, 4,925,000. So I'm calculating that to be a total payment of 68 cents, which is a 38% yield. That's really good. However, we still have 2 trading days for people to buy in. So how many people are going to buy in? All right. I'll just say 10%. So I did a 10% cushion. So let's just say 492,500 people will buy in. That means our new outstanding shares will be $5,417,500. So that being the case, the new payment will be 62 cents. Again, this is my guesstimate. Always keep that in mind. This has nothing to do with YieldMax. You know, they're going to do what they're going to do. I can only run the numbers based on the data that I have. And this is my guesstimate based on that data. I mean, it's not a guess clearly out of the blue. ULTY will be. Obviously, I'm going to throw ULTY in this too. But this, I feel pretty good about. We're going to be close. Exact? Probably not, but close. So I think they're going to pay around 62 cents for YMAX. That is a 34.82% yield, okay? Now, how does that compare to last month's yield? Well, last month's yield, oh, actually, no, that takes as of the current price. So I don't know what the yield was at, but I think it was around, it was probably less. I think it was less than that number. So anyway, so yeah, that's my guesstimate for YMAX, 62 cents, which is a 34.82% yield based on their current price. By the way, that's 21.28. So they're doing very well. So when the numbers come out, I'll plug in the actual numbers and then the actual cushion, and we'll go from there. So that is my guesstimate on YMAX. Let's head over to the right. Let's go to YMAG. So YMAG had a total payment of $1,293,287. They had, as of now, as of Friday, outstanding shares 1,875,000. So that's how many people own. That's how many shares are purchased. So all that being said, that is a 69-cent payment or a 40% yield. When you hear 40% yield, you're like, sign me up. However, we got to put a cushion in there. I'm going to use the same number. Again, I don't know if this is the right number to use. With 2 days, is 10% too much? Is 10% not enough? 10% is probably too much to me, but I'd rather do too much than not enough. But either way, let's say 187,500 people buy in. That's 10% more. That would now equal total outstanding shares of 2,062,500. So now the new payment estimate is around 63 cents or a yield of 36.39%. So again, that's still pretty good. It's not 40 cents, but it's still pretty good. YMAG price is at $20.68. And that's really good. Like, these funds are awesome. These funds, to me, in my opinion, if you're just starting off, these are the funds to buy. Before you even think of buying the individual, these are the ones, man. I got nothing but good things to say about YMAX and YMAG. Like, really. I mean, in reality, we should all just be owning these. I mean, if the yield is enough to pay your income, because then you just have especially YMAX, such diversification. Because you're going to have really good months from some and then really bad months from the others. So others will pick up the slack for the others. So I always say I'd rather be capital flat and make, 30, 40% yield. Again, 40% is my number. I want to make 40%. So obviously, if I only own YMAX and YMAG, I'm going to own some other high risk, like the Defiance funds. They're always going to pay more than 40%. So either way, so that's my estimate. So in the end, my estimate for YMAX, let's recap, is 62 cents, which would yield for YMAX 34.82%. And YMAG, my estimate is 63 cents, and that's a yield of 36.39%. So currently, YMAG would yield better by 2 points, not much, barely 2 points, not even 2 points, better than YMAX. But in my opinion, both of these funds are amazing. That's just my thoughts. So what do you guys think of my estimate on these? Do you think I'm close? And by the way, no, I don't watch any other. I know so many people are doing the estimates now, but I don't watch it. I can't. If I hear an estimate for these, then obviously it'll just screw with my head. I always like to do my own thing. I don't even, I can't. Again, I can't. I have to keep it in my own little zone if I'm going to do these estimates. ULTY is a different story. ULTY, I did I asked Happy Camper on my live stream the other day her estimate, but I did not consider that when I did my ULTY. My ULTY is just clearly dumb data, and I'll show you that in a second. So here's the estimate for, again, YMAX and YMAG. Hopefully you understand the calculation, and it's pretty much as simple as that. Like I said, I may add allocation percentage going forward, so you can see like which fund is paying like the most. I don't know if you guys care about that, but I'll have to do that on my MacBook, because the MacBook, there's so much more, so much more I could do than on the phone. It's so hard to do like certain complicated formulas on the phone. I'm surprised I made it this far. But either way, let's go on to the ULTY fund. All right, so ULTY, yeah, ULTY is crazy. I mean, I got to be honest. ULTY is like, it's now becoming like a guilty pleasure for me. It is the other piece that's lifting up my yield. Yes, I want to yield 40%. And yes, people say that is ridiculous, that it's unsustainable, blah, 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 blah. But if I can keep ULTY in my portfolio and I could keep my average within a respectable range, then it should help lift my overall yield up to 40%. And that should not be a big deal. So here's all their holdings. Again, there's so many holdings that I don't even know. Like, what are these? Like, what are these names? So lucky for you, I got little formulas over here. And let's go check them out. So here's some of the funds they own. Biohaven, CleanSpark, Coinbase, Carvana, eHang, Enphase, GigaCloud, Intracellular, Direction Daily S&P Bull 3X shares. I actually do swing trading on that one. I don't even know what the hell's in it, to be honest. Marathon, Mind Medicine, MicroStrategy, MSTR, woohoo. NanoX, who apparently doesn't have an implied volatility. We'll get into the implied volatility in a second. Root, Sunrun, Solar Edge, Supermicro Computer. What the hell is that? I always say that's like the nerdiest company name. Yeah, we're the Supermicro Computer Company. Yeah, okay, let me invest in you. Viking Therapeutics, Vertiv Holdings, Wayfair, Wolfspeed, and that's it. So now look at the IVs. Look at the IVs. All right, so let's see. Who's over 100%? Biohaven, 120% implied volatility. CleanSpark, 126% implied volatility. Carvana has 105% implied volatility. That's insane. GigaCloud, 108% implied volatility. Intracellular Therapies, 117% implied volatility. Here's the Labu. This is a 3X, though. This is a 100% implied volatility. Mara is 107% implied volatility. That's why so many people trade options on Mara. Mind Medicine, whatever the hell that is, 107% implied volatility. MicroStrategy, our best friend right here, 126% implied volatility. Root, 153% implied volatility. I don't know what Root is, but they are volatile as hell. Sunrun, is that a solar company? 113% implied volatility. Solar Edge has 105% implied volatility. Wolfspeed, 110% implied volatility. So why am I talking about implied volatility? Because, well, two reasons. Well, the first reason is, this fund basically sells calls on the most volatile stocks that they can find, apparently. And they do it over many of them. So it's not just one high risk one, it's multiple. So you are diversified in a risky as hell fund. So if that makes sense. So yes, diversifying is great. High risk is scary. But when you're in a diversified high risk fund, is it as scary? Well, yeah, kind of. But it's fun as hell. Because I don't want to, me personally, I don't want to sell calls or puts on these individually, either because I can't afford them or I just don't have the stomach for it. However, I'm willing to pay YieldMax, via the ULTY fund to do it, right? And you can see, based on that implied volatility, they're going to make some good premiums. However, hopefully they're profitable. Now, if you look to the right, I have the underlying value. So are these priced at a high? A lot of them are priced at towards 52-week highs. even Carvana. Wow. So the only ones aren't. EHang is at a low, end phase. So this is important because you want to see some upside, momentum on some of these. So the biotech one, that's at a low. That's good. Most of these it's probably overall going to be equally weighted. This nano thing, I don't know what their IV is, but they're priced at a low. Sunrun is priced at a low. Solar Edge, again, the solar world is priced low, I guess. And then Wolfspeed's at a low. Okay, so now back to the implied volatility. The other reason is they're basically, I think, this is what they do, or at least for Tesla and some of the others, they're going to pay a yield that's within range of their total implied volatility. So what is their average implied volatility? I come up with 106.48%. But of course, that's assuming an equally weighted fund. I did not do the implied volatility per actual net asset value per fund. This estimate is not even going to do that much. This estimate is very basic. I don't plan to get into the nitty gritty of ULTY. I'll save that for the happy camper. Go check out her channel. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I just don't have the time. So if I'm going to do an ULTY estimate, it's just going to be basic. So I'm going to do my estimate basically putting up 106%. So that's what they're going to yield. So if they yield that, where's my estimate? I don't even know where I put it. There it is. Okay. So ULTY price is $17.14. So if they yield an annualized rate of 106.48%, that would come to a monthly payment right now of $1.52. So my estimate for ULTY is $1.52. Last month, I think it was like $1.06. I'll have to track that somewhere on this spreadsheet as well. So yeah, that is my estimate for ULTY. Sorry for the long-winded explanation, but I just wanted to cover the funds because I do think it's interesting to see what funds they own, right? It's good to know at least the names. You guys are looking at tickers like me, like who the hell is that? And you own the fund, right? It's like, it's good to know what you own. Granted, looking at the names, I still don't know who they are. But, I just, again, this is in my opinion, I like gambling. So I always have a portion of my fund that I consider high risk because I'm a degenerate gambler, right? So this is fun for me. Like I like to look at this and be like, oh my God, they added a new fund. What do they add? If this is 5% of my portfolio, again, my taxable portfolio, I'm okay with that. However, since I bought in, I've been averaging down. So obviously that's not the ideal scenario. And, next week, I'm probably going to average down more because the news is just bringing down the market. And here we are. But I have to make sure I somehow can produce cash. All right. So anyway, those are my estimates. Let's do a full recap. So again, ULTY, I have an estimate of $1.52. YMAX, let's go to YMAX. I have an estimate of 62 cents. And YMAG, I have an estimate of 63 cents. So we'll see what they announce on, I believe, the Tuesday of this week. Again, guys, this is just an estimate. Wait until the actual numbers come if you're actually using, data before you buy into the fund. So this is just for fun and entertainment. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is never financial advice. Every video I make is for fun and entertainment. Of course, I'm sharing my journey. I am, personally invested in these funds. I own YMAX and ULTY. I don't own YMAG. To me, it's a little overkill, to be honest, if you own both, because YMAG has funds that are in YMAX, right? So I just feel like I don't need to own both. That's just my opinion on that. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. If you want to help out even more, you can share the video in any of the high yield groups you're in. You could be a high yield Facebook group. You could be a high yield Reddit group, or you could be on Twitter. Retweet. I always tweet these out on Twitter. You could check me out on Twitter. I think my name, I changed it, my handle, Retire on Dividend, no D or S, because I got cut off. So yeah, check me out on Twitter and retweet my tweets, and it goes a long way. Maybe I'll share it on my YouTube somewhere or something. But either way, thank you for watching this far. It's always greatly appreciated. If you guys have your own estimates, feel free to share them in the comments below, and we'll go from there, all right? Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend or whenever you're watching this, and thank you as always. Later.